Good afternoon, Addsure followers. Welcome to another exciting edition on our YouTube channel. Today we are actually very privileged to have online with us Marina Constas from BBM Law. She's an expert in her field, and obviously with us assisting the clients in the sectional title environment and community schemes on an insurance perspective, what a better way to introduce Marina, who fulfills such an important role to that industry. Marina, welcome, and thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you so much, Candice. It's lovely to be with you today. And well done to you guys at Addsure for really being in the business for a long time, being consistent. I've worked with Mike in the past. We used to run around all over the country giving talks at NAMA seminars. I always used to meet him in the airports. So you've definitely stood the test of time. So well done, Addsure.
Thank you. So Marina, today we're still in the month of August and we're celebrating Women's Month, but we're also celebrating the launch of Demystifying Sectional Title, which all coincides quite nicely with our online competition where we're actually giving away a copy of your book. So I just want to ask a couple of questions because I think our followers would be very interested. Marina, with your vast experience in the legal realm, and being a community influencer and the contributions that you've made to the property industry, being a trailblazer in community scheme living itself, I want to know what made you interested in focusing on sectional title law as opposed to any other legal area?
Thanks so much, Candice, for the kind words. Well, I started at WITS in my final year LLB, having a really big and strong interest in property law, and I got the best results in property law. So that was always an interest of mine. During my articles, I noticed that there were a lot of buildings going up all around us, that sectional title was taking off, not only in Johannesburg, but also in Cape Town. And I thought, well, there'll certainly be a lot of work going forward for me, enough work going forward for me. I also enjoy dealing with people. I'm curious about behavior, and certainly you can see a couple of different types of behavior in sectional title schemes. So it was a nice mix. And the law I find very interesting, and I feel specializing is definitely the way to go. I didn't want to be a jack of all trades as an attorney. I wanted to specialize.
And I think that area of property now is in such need of specialists because it's growing on a daily basis. With August and the celebration of women, and specifically in sectional title, I know historically sectional title's always been more of a woman-focused industry. Do you feel that women in sectional title can often be overlooked and the role that they play?
Well, there's so many different women in sectional title, and the first group that interested me were owners and trustees. And a lot of owners wrote me emails and said, they had this sort of boys club as trustees, who they felt like they were being swept aside, fobbed off, that they weren't being listened to. So it was quite a lot of bullying going on in complexes in the last few years that I've noticed. And that's what made me think about starting a platform like Women in Sectional Title, which we've done, just to give women a platform to share and learn and grow, and a safe space to be able to say as well, look, we're feeling left out. But the second group is an interesting one as well, managing agents. I think women, I shouldn't maybe say this, but I think women make really good portfolio managers, maybe even better than men, because they're organized and more communicative. And I think that the one thing that they do perhaps lack is being assertive enough to hold their own at meetings with quite intimidating trustees, particularly if you are faced with a group of male trustees who do think they might know everything about sectional title. So that was also, I really felt that we also needed to reach out to those portfolio managers too.
Marina, with WiST and the formation of it, have you found that it's become its own animal of sorts? Because I mean, that you host, and there's a lot more participants each month. Do you find that it's going to take off and become something that you perhaps envisaged?
Yes, well, I hope so. I think, we were very happy to just see how it goes and just to be there for women, but it has gained quite serious traction, and we've got some really nice sponsors on board. So yes, I think that if there's a need for that, then I will definitely move in that direction. And I'm enjoying the topics. We've done sort of 37 webinars every month, and we never run out of things to say, and people just keep coming. So we must be doing something right.
I would agree. Like today's topic on going green in sectional title is very interesting. I mean, the items that were discussed are things that you don't realize, and how we all contribute on a daily basis to what we're doing to the environment. So I find it very informative, very topical topics that I think benefit men and women. So there are some men that I see do join the webinars, which is a good thing.
They do, Candice. And you know what? We love those men. Any men who support our Women in Sectional Title webinar, always welcome.
I agree. So I need to talk to you about Demystifying Sectional Title and the 3rd edition that's out now. I really think if the audience doesn't have a copy of one yet, they really should get it. And I see it's readily available online, or they can enter our competition and hope that they can win a copy. So I was fortunate enough to get my own copy, and I've gone through it. It's such an easy to read book. I find that anybody in sectional title, if they read it, they'll get a very, very good understanding of what it actually is all about. So what made you and Karen actually write that book in the beginning? What caused it to mold into what it is now?
Well, Karen and I decided that we did enjoy writing, and obviously we both had some degree of knowledge, hopefully a good degree of knowledge, and we needed to tell trustees exactly and owners exactly what they had bought into in sectional title, and that came from our experience in terms of giving advice as attorneys. And there was just not enough information out there. There's definitely much more information out there now, but I must tell you, Candice, it took us 4 times to write the first book. That was back in 2005. And the reason it took so long is because we had to get rid of all the legalese in the book. We needed to sit down. I said to Karen, we spoke about it, we need to almost imagine that there was a trustee or an owner sitting in front of us that we were talking to on a one-on-one basis, so that if you pick that book up, you will be able to read it without worrying. And it's just easy, it flows, and it's great because when I go visit Cape Town or Durban, or even Port Elizabeth, the managing agents, a lot of them come out with little post-it stickers in the book, like on the side, on the sides of the book. And the one guy said, no, it's like our Bible, and I think it's that makes me really happy.
I think anybody starting out in the industry, especially a trustee or a portfolio manager, should definitely get hold of the book because it tells you from A to Z in such an easy way. So really kudos to yourself and Karen. Marina, with the engagement that you've had over the years with your clients, trustees, directors, homeowners, do you find that the teamwork between a managing agent and the client could be better improved? And if you think that it can be, what ways can both parties work better with each other? Because sometimes I'm sure over the years you've seen conflict happen between those two parties. How, and that's such an integral part to community scheme management. What are your views?
Yes, definitely, Candice. I've seen some really excellent relationships between managing agents and trustees or directors, and usually the excellent relationships are those where you have a set of trustees or directors who are quite robust, quite communicative, positive, and interested in their building and interested in the improvement of their building. I think that the main thing for me is that where there's failure between managing agents and trustees or directors, I think there's a lack of setting expectations. So very often your trustees feel that the managing agent needs to do X, Y, and Z, where the managing agent said, well, I would never set out that expectation that I was going to do that. So then you reach an impasse, and often that causes disputes or friction between the parties. So setting expectations at the very beginning through your contract is important. And secondly, I think communication. I mean, isn't that in every aspect of anything? And I think, again, as soon as the trustees get a whiff of weakness on the part of the portfolio manager in any way, then they attack. That's what I found. So they need to know that the portfolio manager is knowledgeable, they know what they're talking about, and they're assertive enough to put that across.
Definitely, because then I think a lot of conflicts could be avoided right from the start. And like you say, communication is the key to every aspect. So on a personal note, I feel very privileged to have had dealings with you over the years when I was on the other side of the table, on portfolio management side. Do you feel that there are areas in sectional title, specifically for insurance, law and finance, that are sometimes overshadowed by the more sort of nitty-gritty day-to-day conduct issues and neighborly issues that go on, that sort of overtake the real aspects of sectional title? Do you find that throughout the years?
Yes, I do. And I don't think it's a good thing, because, of course, insurance and finance are probably the top most important things in sectional title. I remember when the law was that trustees could be sued in their personal capacity for gross negligence. One of those gross negligence things that you could be sued for was failure to insure a building. So that is important. Now, of course, we don't talk about gross negligence. We just talk about breach of fiduciary duty. And that is a breach of fiduciary duty. So insurance is absolutely vital. Finance, of course, also is vital. And these buildings falling into arrears are creating major problems. And I don't think enough emphasis is placed on that by trustees who running the show. So yes, you're always getting other things, cropping up, and all these disputes, and you can't believe noise nuisance. Of course, water ingress is huge for us. That is, coming up now, I'm worried about the rain coming up again now in September, because then we get hundreds of complaints and things like that. So maintenance of buildings, that seems to be more uppermost in people's minds.
Do you feel that when there are new entrants into sectional title, that they are not knowledgeable about what they're actually buying into? They've come in as new owners, they've got different expectations, maybe they've come from a freestanding house where they've grown up and they have this kind of thought process. How do we empower owners to be more knowledgeable, to understand more about what they're buying into, and to actually help their asset grow? What are the sort of tips? What should they be looking at?
I feel that owners are ill-equipped very often as they come into the complex. People who live in the complex are generally more prone to want information, and that information needs to come through in the form of, for example, newsletters from the managing agents. Easy, bite-sized chunks of information. People are not going to read long, dreary newsletters. They want to see things in a, again, easy to understand kind of way. And I think that there's so much. There's so much, their webinars, their seminars, their conferences. The thing is, we are really time poor in Johannesburg particularly. We're always on the run, we're always on a treadmill. The last thing you want to do when you get home is now sit and have meetings and trustees meetings and AGM. So we need to work around that with virtual meetings and make it easy. And managing agents, of course, play a huge role in getting their trustees together in a sort of fun environment, maybe a cocktail function or something on the weekend, or even a virtual tea party, to say, right, the guys, there are 5 things I need you to know, and these are X, Y, and Z. I think people they want quick information. They're not in the habit at the moment of reading long things. But of course, then they can also buy our book. I think that could be a way to get up to speed.
Exactly. I think while you were talking, I was thinking, well, there's a book. It's a nice, easy to read book.
Yes.
You can have a glass of wine and read a couple of pages each night and actually educate yourself on the property that you bought into. But like you said, it speaks back to what you said earlier about communication. Just a quick touch base with your clients on maybe relevant items, which is also what we at Addsure do. We'll sort of start to pick up a trend in questions that we get, and we'll drop a quick explainer, because we find that that is something that is nice, quick, easy. It's something that you can watch, read, listen to. And maybe that kind of approach from a managing agent perspective would also work for the clients. Marina, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for chatting to us about women in sectional title, as well as the demystifying sectional title. Please, Addsure followers, go out and get the book, educate yourself, take this opportunity to know what you bought into and understand all the facets of the property. Marina, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Candice. Thank you. And keep up the good work, Addsure.